Hello, my name is Rajendra Chitnis and I'm Associate Professor of Czech at Oxford University. In this short presentation, I'm just going to talk a bit about why you might consider studying Czech as part of your degree at university. One reason is actually in this picture. This is Prague, one of Europe's great cities, a city that historically has belonged equally to Czechs, Germans and Jews. Any study of the Czechs is going to involve a lot of discussion of the history and culture of Prague and how it has been seen at different times by different people. But unless you've had a very inspiring visit to Prague or you have personal connections with the Czech Republic or Slovakia, it's unlikely that you've thought of studying Czech. So I want to give you some reasons why you might. Some of the reasons for studying Czech apply more generally to less widely studied languages. At the moment, you might be thinking of carrying on with the languages that you've already studied for a long time, or you might be thinking of picking up a major language that you've missed out on before, like German or Spanish. But there are big personal and professional advantages to studying a language that makes you stand out a bit more from the crowd. One reason for doing Czech is simply to do something new. Students, when they come up to university, often find it motivating and exciting to apply their skills to a new language and culture about which they don't know very much. You'll find that you make progress much faster, probably, than you did at school, and that's partly down to the style of teaching, but also to your own greater experience. And you will also get a new perspective on any other languages that you've been studying for a long time. Another good reason for studying Czech is just to do something different. Students of less commonly studied languages do stand out for employers. It shows independence and imagination and the ability to succeed at something seen as difficult. Also, you might be considering studying something like Arabic or Mandarin, but you might be worried that that will be very difficult. You might not do very well, and it might be quite difficult to go abroad to those places. Czech is quite a good next step into the exotic. Slavonic languages like Czech feel unfamiliar. They're a big cultural leap at the beginning. But in fact, Czech language puts itself together like most European languages. And of course, the Czech Republic is a safe, stable, typically European state, a member of the EU with close links to the UK. A particular reason for studying Czech at Oxford is that you get two languages in one. With Czech, you'll also study the closely related language of Slovak, and once you've learned them, you'll find it very easy to learn other Slavonic languages like Polish and Russian. And if you can imagine coming out with a degree in French and Czech with Slovak or Spanish and Czech with Slovak, you're going to look like a real language specialist. Mastering Czech is an excellent first step towards learning other more difficult languages. Many of the people I've taught Czech in the past have been employed by financial, diplomatic, security sectors, and they've been asked by their employers quite quickly to learn new languages, Central Asian languages, Middle Eastern, African. So Czech can take you surprisingly far. But perhaps the key question to ask is, would I enjoy studying Czech? What would I learn about? Would it be interesting? The Czechs really are fascinating to study because for over 1,000 years they've preserved and developed their language, culture, and identity in Central Europe. At the crossroads or maybe the crash site of every major historical episode, from Christianization in the early Middle Ages and the Reformation to Nazism and communism. Another thing is that we normally learn the languages of empires. The Czechs aren't an empire, they haven't ever been an empire. They have experienced periods of independence. There was the powerful medieval kingdom of Bohemia, there's 20th century Czechoslovakia, and of course the contemporary Czech Republic. But they've also experienced periods of colonization for centuries by the Habsburgs in Austria, and then by Nazi Germany and communist USSR. You might not know this, but in the late Middle Ages, the multilingual Kingdom of Bohemia really pioneered modern ideas of national identity and it prefigured Protestantism. In the 19th century, the Czechs exemplified modern nationalism, and in the 20th century, they experienced two types of totalitarian dictatorship in quick succession. You can see in the picture here, you've got good King Wenceslas on his horse, although he wasn't actually a king. This is the defenestration of Prague being reenacted. This is the burning of Hus, the early church reformer. This is Hitler looking down on Prague after he occupied it in 1939. And this is the Soviet military intervention in Prague in 1968. In these last slides, I just want to show you a little bit about Czech with Slovak at Oxford. These are the people that would teach you. You can study Czech with Slovak with French or German or Italian or Portuguese or Russian or Spanish, but it's important to note that you can only be a beginner in one of these languages. And you can also study Czech with Slovak with classics or English or history or philosophy, and these are all great combinations. You can study Czech with Slovak from scratch or with existing knowledge of either language. In either case, it's a 4-year course with a year abroad in the 3rd year. Apart from language, at Oxford you can study Czech and Slovak literature from the 14th century to the present and the history of Czech and Slovak language. So what would studying Czech language be like at Oxford? Well, over 4 years you will achieve graduate level written and oral fluency in Czech and the ability to translate from Czech and Slovak into English. Most of our students are complete beginners, but we also cater for all levels of heritage speaker. In the 1st year, beginners cover all the key grammar of Czech, and literature classes focus particularly on developing your ability to read in Czech. In the summer after 1st year, and every year after that on the course, you can apply for a Czech government scholarship to study for a month for free at a university summer school in the Czech Republic. And during the 3rd year abroad, students typically spend at least half the year in a Czech and or Slovak speaking environment, studying at university or working. The other main focus of the course is literature and linguistics. There is much more to Czech literature than the word robot and the comic figure of the good soldier Švejk. In the Middle Ages, Czech literature is very bold, rebellious, very funny often, and political, and also deeply religious. In the 19th century, its main purpose is to shape understandings of what it is to be a modern Czech, but it also tries to enter European conversations about literature and culture, politics, philosophy. Czech modernist literature is really among the best, whether you talk about 1890s symbolism and decadence or the interwar surrealist avant-garde. And Czech literature is at the forefront of international examinations of the experience of Nazi and communist dictatorship right up to the present day. Perhaps the most important thing to say is that because we teach in small groups, you will be able to choose the writers and the topics that most interest you. As well as exploring language and style, we look at literature's relationship to history, society, politics, philosophy, and also other culture like art, music, and film, in which Czechs also excel. And of course, you can also study the historical development of the Czech and Slovak languages from their origins to the present, including conversations about dialect, how the modern language has changed, and so on. If you'd like further information, you can find it on our website at this link, where you'll also find recommendations of books to read and films to watch. But if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to contact me at this email address. Thanks for your attention. Děkuji za pozornost. Ďakujem za pozornost.